Let's jump into the latest Lakers news right now, and that's Anthony Davis. We do have a real injury update. Harrison Graham and Chase Sr. with you. Looks like Chase, he could be back as soon as Saturday.
It's been a long process, and since he last played on February 14th because of that Achilles and calf injury, a lot of people expected him to only be out for a couple of weeks. We're now at the couple-month mark, and he could return either Saturday, according to Frank Vogel, or Monday. Now, we're not sure when LeBron James is going to come back from his right ankle sprain that he suffered a couple weeks ago against the Atlanta Hawks, but what you're seeing here, the Lakers are finally starting to get healthy, and I think this is really important timing, Harrison, because with the NBA playoffs starting on May 22nd, the Lakers now have some time to get used to their new lineup with the addition of Andre Drummond, as well as Ben McLemore, and kind of get their feet wet and just kind of put some WD-40 on the gears here and get ready for the postseason, because when this team is healthy, they have an opportunity to win a second straight championship.
This is around the time when you're a contending team that you want to start playing your best basketball, because you're right at the month mark before the playoffs get going. Here's what Frank Vogel had to say about AD. It's not going to be a full return to playing 30-some minutes a night, especially with the nature or the lack of practice and how short-handed we are. He's going to have to use some games to get back in shape. So the first few games he's back with likely short-minute performances, probably like a 15-minute restriction, and build up from there. So kind of think what the Nets have done with Kevin Durant, right? They're not playing him on back-to-backs right now. I think he played 17 minutes or so his first game back a couple of weeks ago. I would expect similar type of playing time for AD. Maybe he even comes off the bench his first couple of games. And then, hopefully within 2, 3, 4 weeks, he's back to playing 28, 32 minutes a night.
Well, there's no reason right now for Anthony Davis to play 30-plus minutes a night.
No.
With the additions of Andre Drummond and Ben McLemore, you've kind of fortified the bench. Marc Gasol is playing a little bit better. And with those additions and Anthony Davis coming back, you're now looking at a Lakers lineup that is much deeper, and they don't need Anthony Davis to be bubble playoffs Anthony Davis. He can come in and play 15, 20 minutes a night. Also, with that injury, calf and Achilles, that's something that you don't want to overdo or mess with. And I'm sure a lot of Lakers fans out there very excited to see AD back on the floor.
Hey, if you're fired up, I know we are. It's good to get AD back out there. Again, he'll be back out there in the next couple of games. Type me in the comments, spam it for us if you're excited to get Anthony Davis back on the court. And you should be, because you're talking about one of the, I'll say, dozen best players in the NBA, top 5 to 6, when he's fully healthy and locked in, which is what we saw last season, was having another great year this year before he's missed the past couple of months, 53% from the field, really efficient season. And you just start to envision this, Chase, kind of what we were talking about a minute ago. Okay, you get AD back. A couple weeks from now, you get LeBron back. You ease their minutes up. Maybe you get them 4, 5, 6, 7 games of full go toward the end of April and on into early May. You look at this potential lineup. I mean, this is what you've been waiting for. Like, this is what you're looking forward to as you try to repeat if you are LA. You added Schroeder this offseason. You just added Andre Drummond off the buyout market. You already had LeBron, AD, and then you talk about the role players who can come off the bench as well, Chase. This team can go the distance if they can get fully healthy, and it starts with Anthony Davis.
And here's the thing. Like, people love the sexy Nets because of the offensive firepower that they have. People talk about the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns. While those teams in the West, really, really exciting, and they've been two of the top stories in the NBA so far this season, and they are certainly capable of making deep runs in the Western Conference. You throw the Clippers into that conversation as well. I like the Lakers among all of those teams for a couple of reasons. You have LeBron James, who's still the best player in the world. Anthony Davis is probably the best second option on any team in the NBA. Most importantly, though, this is a team, and we saw it last year, we saw it this year when this team is fully healthy, that can play defense. And those other teams that I mentioned, they don't have the culture that the Lakers have. They don't play defense like the Lakers do, and I don't think they're as deep as the Lakers are.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So answer this question for us. Are the Lakers the best team in the NBA or in the West, NBA, whatever, when fully healthy? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. I think they're the most complete team.
I do too.
Brooklyn's sexy, but they're like 25th in defensive rating. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Get your votes in on this one. NBA Rumors is presented by the Newsbreak app. We partnered up with these guys about a month ago, and hey, I downloaded this app right away, and it's been a game changer for me. If you want local news alert based on your zip code, based on your city, keep up with things happening in your community, politics, pop culture, like I said, local news as well, food reviews, new restaurants popping up in your area, the Newsbreak app is for you. Go to chatsports.com/newsbreak. Sports content as well, including some videos from us here at Chat Sports. Chase, I know you're a big fan of this app.
Huge fan, and it's funny because we were talking the other day about how far phones have come, how far apps have come. I remember being in high school and I'd kind of sneak text under the desk with one of those keyboard phones. Now that I have an iPhone, I have a bunch of apps on it, and one of the apps that I use the most, it's the Newsbreak app, because as you mentioned, everything shows up on one single feed from your local news sources. So basically everything you need to know nationally, locally, in your community, it's right on the Newsbreak app.
Think of it this way. Instead of downloading 10 different apps from different publications, it all comes together in one with Newsbreak. Chatsports.com/newsbreak. That link will be in the comments. It'll be in the description. Go ahead and download the app today. More on the Lakers here, as this is a cool story, Chase. The Basketball Hall of Fame announced who would be presenting the 2020 class. If you guys didn't know, every inductee has someone present them, and the late Kobe Bryant will be inducted by one Michael Jordan. This is a fantastic story.
It really is, and for a few reasons. First of all, rest in power to Gigi and Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba, one of the best athletes of all time, one of the most fearless competitors out there. Earlier this week on the Lakers Report, we kind of went back and looked at his 60-point game to end his NBA career.
5-year anniversary.
Yeah, and last summer, when we were watching The Last Dance, there was a clip in there of a rookie Kobe Bryant having a conversation with Michael Jordan, and that started their relationship. And you look at the similarities from a competitiveness level to them being a champion. Michael Jordan 6 rings, Kobe Bryant 5.
Their skill
set and their array of moves. If you go on YouTube and kind of look at the mirrored images of Michael Jordan's fadeaway and some of his offensive package skill set, and you match that with Kobe Bryant's, it's nearly identical. And if there's one guy who can present Kobe and honor him at the Hall of Fame ceremony coming up, it's Michael Jordan. And Kobe wouldn't want it any other way if he couldn't be there himself.
This is a totally appropriate move from the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's an ideal thing. And for those who don't know, as these two got older, because like you mentioned, they competed against one another early on in their careers when MJ was getting toward the end and Kobe was really getting going here. They became really good buddies later on in life because Kobe respected the heck out of Michael Jordan, and they kept in touch. They became good buddies. I think they did some business stuff together in post-basketball career as well. This is a great story. Like you said, rest in power, Kobe and his daughter Gigi. Still one of the most horrific stories in recent years, especially when it comes to sports. But this can be a positive taken from that. I can't wait to watch this Hall of Fame induction. It's going to be emotional for a lot of basketball fans out there, but Kobe's one of the all-time greats. Michael Jordan is probably the all-time great when it comes to the sport of basketball. It's going to be an exciting Hall of Fame ceremony.
Yeah, and the other connection here is that during Kobe Bryant's memory of life, his memorial, remember when Michael Jordan took the podium and was talking about Kobe and how emotional he got because their relationship had evolved so much over the years to the point where they were best friends. Michael Jordan, not only Kobe's idol, but one of his best friends across the entire NBA and two of the best players of all time. And again, it's just like crazy to envision and look back on how similar both of these guys were, from how serious they took their craft, their approach to the game, how seriously they just were for competing toward championships, and then the afterlife. Like, Kobe had evolved and turned into a great businessman. Michael Jordan has as well. You can talk about his ownership of the Hornets all you want, whatever. Guy's a great businessman. I mean, he's still making more money through Jordan Brand than any current player is in the NBA, selling more shoes than any of those guys, and Kobe was doing the same, basically.
I can't wait for this to happen. It's going to be a great day for the sport of basketball. Kobe, of course, one of 9 members getting inducted in the 2020 class. It's a loaded group. Going to be a great day for the purple and gold and, of course, for the late Kobe Bryant. Let's take a look at the NBA playoff picture, Chase, because we are exactly a month away from the final game of the regular season, final games, I should say. May 16th. Today is April 16th. So we got a month of basketball to play before we figure out what the playoffs look like. Now, if you didn't know, slightly different format this year, and I believe this is what it's going to be moving forward. The top 6 teams from the East and the West automatically make the playoffs. They're locked and loaded. So top 6 from each, they qualify once the final games are played and the standings are wrapped up. Now the 7 through 10 seeds in the East and West, they got to play in a play-in tournament for each conference. So East and West, they'll each do a bracket like this. 7 plays 8, and the winner will earn the number 7 seed in the East and in the West. What happens to the loser? Well, I'll tell you in a second. The 9 and the 10 seed play. Winner of that game plays the loser from the 7 and 8 game matchup, and the winner of that game will earn the final playoff spot. Obviously, the loser of the 9-10 game is eliminated from the playoffs, but you better be top 6 if you want to feel comfortable about making the playoffs, because the NBA has kind of stretched this out to where, okay, we'll go 10 deep, and I think they're trying to eliminate tanking a little bit more. I think that's a big incentive of this, and quite frankly, I think they're trying to create excitement and some more important games toward the end of the season.
Well, we see when there are games late in the NBA regular season with the old format, when you see 2 teams battling it out for one of those final seeds, those games are really, really exciting because there's so much to obviously play for. Now, the approach here and the thought process is, okay, if we have a couple of play-in games, that will have the feel and the pressure of some of those games that we would rarely get at the end of the 82 regular game schedule. And I actually like the play-in tournament. As you mentioned, it kind of eliminates tanking. I think it adds some incentive for teams to not tank, but also it gives them hope to actually have something to play for late in the season. And for the NBA, more TV money. And if the NBA gets more TV money, I mean, the fans usually win out on that too, because then teams will have more money to spend. So it's a win-win for all of us,
and
really.
Look, there's some controversy because, like, right now, like, the Bulls are 10 games below 500. Do they really deserve an opportunity to make the playoffs? Probably not, but I'm going to watch.
Do I want Vooch and Zach LaVine in
Yes,
a playoff game?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll take that.
I'm down. It's a little controversial, but you know what? It's more games, and that is certainly fine with me. So let us know. Do you like the play-in tournament, this new formula? Type L for like, type D for dislike. I think overall it's more positive than negative. There's, people have certainly been outspoken. Luka Doncic recently said he wasn't a huge fan, but
Mark Cuban too.
When you sit in that 7 seed, you're not going to be a big fan of it. There's no doubt about that. So L for like or D for dislike. Get your votes in, and we'll obviously update the standings here as we'll continue to do so toward the final stretch run here. That number 1 seed, it's getting tight. Suns and Clippers making moves there. The Jazz still holding firm at 41-14. Suns just a game back. Clippers 3 back. The Nuggets, obviously, we'll see what happens to them moving forward. The brutal Jamal Murray injury is big blow for them, certainly. We'll see if they can rally. They added Austin Rivers. He should give them some depth. The Los Angeles Lakers at 34-22. That is the number 5 seed right now. Then 6 through 10 gets a little crowded there to try and get into that top 6 chase because Portland's holding it right now, but then Dallas, they're a game back. The Grizzlies are a couple of games back. Golden State is 500 at 28-28. They've won 4 in a row. And then the San Antonio Spurs hanging on to that number 10 seed. So it'll be interesting. Again, the top 6 in each conference automatically make the playoffs. The Eastern Conference are as follows here. Chase, why don't you take this one away?
Yeah, Sixers in at first place, 38-17. They've been jockeying back and forth with the Brooklyn Nets, who are at 37-18, a game back in that win column. The Milwaukee Bucks just got Giannis back. He returned after a few games out because of knee soreness. They've been playing red-hot basketball in at 35-20. The Atlanta Hawks streaking up the standings in the Eastern Conference. Since firing Lloyd Pierce, Nate McMillan has taken the post for the Hawks. They've been playing awesome basketball, been one of the most exciting teams to watch. The Boston Celtics have won 5 games in a row at 30-16. They have overtaken the 5th place in the Eastern Conference, Celtics 30-26. And Knicks, Heat, Hornets, Pacers, Bulls, I'd say that 6 through 8 spot, Harrison, and then you can throw the Pacers in there
Come on,
at the
Chicago,
9 spot.
rally.
I'm not worried about the Bulls
not
because they're
looking
4
great.
games back in the win column from that 10th to 9th spot, but 6 through 9, really interchangeable. Going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and what stands out in the East is Boston's really starting to play well, and they're trying to assert themselves as a potential playoff team. So that's how the playoff standings sit. That's the latest playoff picture. We'll continue to update as we get closer to the NBA playoffs.